Hello everybody, how's it going? It is Wednesday, and we are here for another live stream. How is everyone doing today? Alright, we are streaming live. Is everybody doing okay today? It is Wednesday, it's almost Christmas. Some of you may have things to do for Christmas, some of you may not have things to do for Christmas, but either way you can come hang out with me a few days beforehand. We can talk FPV or whatever you want to talk about. I'm trying to get myself together here and start going through chat. Actually, I need to learn how to turn on slow mode. That's what I'm going to work on real quick. Because I love you guys and you talk a lot. So let's see if that's a thing I can do. I don't even know how to do that. Maybe we'll do that next chat. Probably something like that. Alrighty. Yeah, we'll figure that out later. No big deal. See how it goes today. Alright, who we got in the chat today? Flying Ram is here. Archimedes is here. How's it going, man? HB. Just because. B-Man. Flying Ram again. We got Steve-O in the chat. Flying Ram says, great to have live streams like this to connect with like-minded folk during the pandemic. Yeah, man. I'm happy to be here to chat with you guys. Definitely kind of sucks to be at home alone and nobody to talk to, so. I'll tell you what, I wasn't talking to very many people before I started live streaming, so it was quite a stark contrast for me as well. Get Seeds right here is here. How's it going, man? Bill Grimes says turn on the slow mode for chat. I will try to figure that out. Not 100% sure how to do that, but we'll get there. Michael Fitzhenry is here. Kemlin Smith says it's Blunty time. You're right, it is, sir. Welcome, Kemlin. Cage Drummer's here. BVTV just got off work, ready to rip it. Awesome, man. Glad to have you here. HP says, I think I just killed my baby tooth ESC on the first flight, but I'm not entirely sure. The motor beeps but doesn't spin properly. First thing I would do is definitely just swap that motor to another corner. That's the easiest thing, and see if it follows the motor. And if it doesn't, then see if, you know, the second motor does the same spinny thing, and it'll probably know it's the ESC. That's a bummer, man. Those small ESCs, they can just be really sketchy, so. Cage Drummer says, Christmas here in Oz. Merry Christmas all. Merry Christmas, Blunty. Merry Christmas to you, man. Or whatever kind of happy tidings you all like on your end of things. Last Pound says, what's up, Blunty? Just got out of the hospital with the COVID. Had to go do some hospital room whooping under a helipad. That's awesome. I mean, it's not awesome that you had COVID, but it's good that you're out of the hospital. And it's cool that you got to do some helipad whooping. Steve says, how's the whooping going? It's going good. I recorded another 5, 10 some odd laps. I'm not even sure. I have to go cut them out. I still forgot to go through the last gate, so we're going to have a bunch of DNFs, but I think I'm getting faster. I don't know. I need more practice, that's for sure. Hopefully we'll do the countdown to Whooptopia, and we're going to get like crazy fast. You guys are going to be blown away. But who knows? I hope so. Let's see. Andy Cooper says, sup dude? Sup Andy Cooper? How's it going, man? It's good to socialize, says Steve. It sure is. Some cases, when in doubt, swap them out. Yes, sir. That is the rule. Does the sound okay? Everything sounding good for you guys? Everything looking okay? All that kind of jazz? It's weird. I actually have to turn down my brightness on my screens so that I don't, you know, it's not as bright in my face, and that means I can't really tell what it looks like to you guys, you know what I mean? Because it's dark. Like, it's kind of dark anyway, but B-Man says, yo, Blunty picked up those LED gates running 3S batteries on it. If you daisy chain 2, it doesn't last long, huh? Like 25 minutes and my voltage is way lower than it should be. So I'm actually currently running them on the power, like the 12 volt cable. So I will charge up a 3S battery for my review and see how long they last, because I'm definitely curious to know. That's a good point. They've got a lot of LED going, but maybe that takes a decent amount of battery. Interesting. Thanks for the insight there. HB. Yep, we'll do. Thanks, because it was only a 5. It was only a 5 amp because it was the only one I could find with an SPI receiver. Yeah, that's pretty common for those sides of boards. Farmer 716 FPVs here. Howdy? How doing? Either way, how's it going, man? Good to see you here. Mouse FPVs here. Yo, Mouse FPV, what's going on? Aerospace Inc. 53 says, can we see your whoop setup? Sure. Well, I don't know what you mean by whoop setup. I have my whoop here, which is a B-Brain brushless V1. I'm still rocking the V1. The VTX sometimes doesn't power on, but I got that to be more consistent by adding a small capacitor. It's like a little over a ½ gram worth of cap, but it actually made a decent difference. I'm not sure if you guys can see that there. Anyway, there's an extra capacitor in there that I added. So I need a table camera like Ciotti has. Mouse FPV says, got my ghost kit in today. Awesome, man. I'm excited to hear what you think about the ghost kit. Newfoundland, RC and FPV. FVP, but... Hey, brother, hope you're ready for Christmas. I am ready for Christmas. I'm not, Oh, invisible dog, it sure is. Where is he? Yeah, I am ready for Christmas. It's about time. Let's see. Yeah, Andy Cooper says invisible dog. Archimedes. Dog got Harry Potter cloak for Xmas. Yes, he did. I want to get him some clothes. I need to get him like a little Christmas outfit, but we'll get there eventually. Bill Grimes, do they offer 5-volt version of the gate? I don't think so. I think it runs on 2S or 3S, though. I imagine if a 3S drains that fast, the 2S is going to be worse. But these are... Let's just do this on stream, why don't we? That's part of this process here. So we'll do this, and then we'll do this. This one. Yes. Okay, great. We will go to the shop. I'm gonna remember to change back, everybody. Watch. You're gonna be like, what? So we have the Whoop House, the Whoop Gates V3. These are the ones I have for testing, the V3. They just came out. They've got a little extra hanger on top to use. And we will see what they say. Powering options. A 3S or a 4S LiPo, it looks like. Or the 12-volt 5 amp power supply that it came with them. So it does not look like... It does not look like you can power them lower than that without some kind of step-down converter or something. So I'll have to look at the amperage and wattage draw of these things and see how much battery they're eating. Because, yeah, the battery option isn't that great if it takes, if you burn them up in 30 minutes. Let's see. I'm going to remember to switch back. There we go. Still no Henry over here. Maybe we can entice a Henry. Henry! What you doing? What you doing? People want to see you. Lay on your bed? Okay. We'll see if that helps. We'll see. All right, well, that's better than nothing. All right, popular demand is Henry. Let's see. Double A says, man, video looks great and you sound great. Awesome, man. Thank you so much. Good to hear it. So yeah, it does not look like they offer a 5-volt version of that gate. Looks like you have to do 3S or 4S power. I'm powering it off the wall on 12-volt 5-amp adapter. So, Shenanigans here. How's it going, man? Aerospace Inc. 53. Let's see. Oh, Shenanigan ordered the Mob Light 7, or Mob 7 Light today. That's awesome, man. Those look pretty interesting. I definitely want to try one out. The weight is exciting, because normally a 7-inch, you think, is not the best, but if the weight's that low, then that's pretty awesome. Mouse FPV says, so far so good. Other than my radio yelling at me for the wrong version. So much more range than XM Plus, it's silly. Awesome. Good, good, good. Yeah, XM Plus is definitely the starter range kit, that's for sure. Somebody needs to do that meme where you do like the whatever starter kit, but you do it with like, FreeSky XM Plus and those Eachine goggles, something like that. The Wizard X220. You just go through the whole thing. Farmer FPV says, what are you running, beta or emu? Currently running beta flight on my B-Brain brushless. However, I am looking at running emu flight. Hopefully I'll get to that point in a bit. Yeah, I don't know. I've definitely tried it on my Tiny Hawk 2 when that was still working. I burned an ESC finally on that. I got a lot of hours of flight on that. And the Tiny Hawk 2, it really totally changed things quite a bit. So, yeah, I don't know. Tiny Hawk 2 is quite a bit different, but I've put a lot of hours in flying stock Betaflight on Velocidrone because you don't really have a choice. And so one of the reasons that I've stayed on Betaflight and stayed on standard, like I don't even do a yaw mix. Like most people use a camera angle mix or mix roll into yaw or yaw into roll, whatever. I don't do any of that. I just do standard. Yeah, and I just compensate. And that's practice that I've done from the sim where I didn't have any angle there either. I just wanted to like flatten everything out and be even across everything. So let's see. But yeah, anyway, EMI flight coming soon. Definitely gonna install that on something soon. I need to get more whoops running. I have like 6 whoops and one of them works. I tried to fly my Hummingbird F4 and that was falling off. Yeah, that was falling off the... Sorry, totally got sidetracked. I pulled my Hummingbird F4 Pro out, and that got that started falling out of the air. I don't know, like an ESC was dropping out or something. I was like desyncing, and I didn't want to deal with it. So that's on the list of things to look at. That's still the V1 board, but that wasn't like a known issue. It was dropping out of the air. It's not like fail-safing, so I'm not really sure what's happening there. But I got a lot more whoops. I also have a couple brushed whoops. I have I think the original B-Brain brushed. No, Acro B V2 brushed. Something like that. I got a bunch of those, and I'll be trying those out as well. So I want to try a bunch of different things for this. You know, I might end up taking brushed because I know we're competing with other people that are using brushed whoops at Whooptopia, and that'll mean that, you know, I'm not at a disadvantage because I can't turtle, so. We'll see what happens. I've been jamming here. How's it going, man? Good to see you. MK, any thoughts on the new beta FPV 95X V3? I haven't really looked too much into it. We didn't do the news this week, so I've been taking a little break from the news. I did see that it came out, but I didn't really look at what it was, so we will pull that up again over to the desktop. The beta 95X V3. Ah, yes, I have seen a little bit about this. What are the benefits? Still a pusher. Okay, the V2 is a pusher. More powerful. Sounds like they probably put more. Oh, this is built for the SMO 4K. Okay, I see. They do have a HD version as well. That's good. Seems good to me. As long as there's no jello. I have the beta 95X V1 with the full-size DJI. No, with the Vista with the full-size DJI camera, and it was just shaking. It shakes horribly. It's like Jello City. So, and back we go because I remembered. All right. Gonna get. All right. Chrismel FPV. Hi, glad I made it in time for the stream. Just got home from a sweet bando fly old paper mill. Awesome, man. That's badass. I need to hit more bandos. I definitely don't do that much. Kind of break a lot of things when you go to bandos, I think, especially if you fly hard, but it's a good time, so. Just because, is anybody out there? Yes, I'm here. I am here. And so is Henry. Henry's here. The shenanigans. This looks like Henry's protecting you. Yeah, he likes this room a lot. This is his safe room, so normally he's in here. I'm sure he was out on the couch protecting me earlier. Tyler Harris is here. How's it going, man? MK says, how come there's no option for super chat? I am more than halfway to my hours watched goal for YouTube. And once I hit 4,000, I'm at like 2,500 hours. Once I hit 4,000, I'll be able to start taking some super chats and things like that. Though currently, I do have a Patreon. So if you really wanted to support me, you could sign up for $3 on my Patreon. That link is in the description. I also take direct donations. So if you do a Streamlabs donation, they don't take any of that money. There's a link at the bottom where Super Chat will end up taking money. As I know it's a lot easier, but Streamlabs will not. And so that might be a good option if you want to support me. I think that'll pop up as an alert, but I'm not sure that the alerts are working. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. Could try it real quick and just see if that's a thing. Oh, it is. Yeah, that is a fake donation. There's no one named John, but it is working. So anyway, that's how you could support me if you wanted to. Eventually, we'll get a super chat when you guys keep watching my stuff. And it turns out these live streams are the best way to do that. My live streams are averaging like 350 to 400 hours watch time total. We're getting about 150 to 200 like during the live stream, and we're getting another like 200 afterwards. So yeah, just a couple more of these, and it'll all start building up. You guys have all been supporting me great. That's really awesome. So let's see. Archimedes says, did you watch the TBS tracer test I posted from Wesley Varty? This testing method was quite thorough. Wonder how TBS was able to fly 25 kilometers standing on a tall mountain, or forgot to switch from 1 watt. So I will say that TBS tests, like basically they're going to test on the top of a mountain in the middle of rural Hong Kong, where there's no signal and nothing to block anything. Typically like over clear air, and I think they test on a wing. So as far as I know, like it's the best possible condition with no noise floor at all. And that means that you can kind of push really hard to get like the most out of the signal. So I do actually believe they got 25 if they say they got it. I just don't think that it's like a realistic number for anybody. It's a manufacturer number, which Trappy has said that before. You know, it's something to show you like this is what they advertise. But yeah, if you think about it, I think they tested it on 100 milliwatts. Let's say they did 100. I mean, 350 would be even better in this case when you see the comparison here. But let's say they tested it on 100 milliwatts even, and it went 25 kilometers. Okay, and that's on the 2.4 gigahertz spectrum. Now 900 megahertz will go about 10 times that far, and that's shown by, I believe they tested 25 milliwatts. And they get 25 milliwatts to go 50 kilometers on Crossfire. So it's just kind of it's like a crazy best case, like here's what the link could technically do if like magic was happening. So Johnny Marino's here. Hi, Blunty. Nothing to ask or discuss, just jumped on to learn. Awesome, man. Glad you're here. Hopefully I can help you or teach you something. Archangel says correctly, I need view hours on YouTube. We're getting there though, no problem. I did put up a new video. It's short, 7 minutes or so. Countdown to Whooptopia, episode 1, and that's where I'm flying some whoops and talking at you. Getting ready for Whooptopia. That's an event in Arizona where we're going to do some whoop racing. And that should be a blast, man. That's in February. I think February 6th is the first day of Whooptopia. And that'll be 64 pilots over the course of 2 days racing for the crown. AK has won 2 years in a row. We'll see if AK can win again. We've got a lot of fast pilots coming, including some that have never come and raced in events like this before. So I'm pretty excited. COVID has had a lot of people in their house whooping away every day and getting way faster than a lot of people give them credit for. So they do have to control nerves and things, but we'll see how all that goes for them. I'm worse. I'm the worst with nerves. Like before this, I was freaking out. Now I'm great because we're talking. But before this, you know, it's like, oh, anxiety. You know, anxiety. If you have anxiety, you know. You know, cold sweats, shaky, you feel like crap, that sort of thing. So, Bman FPV. So, Blunty, what did you plug the 12-volt 5-amp adapter into on the gates? It's just a XT60 to XT30, I think. Yes. There's some adapter I have that came with it. Yes, it's the one for the LED controller. So when you plug into the LED controller, you plug in the XT60 into that, and that plugs into the LED controller. So, or into the XT30, and then etc. LCV FPV's message was hidden because he said fuck. Fuck yeah, I made it. Didn't get an alert for some reason, but I was busy with trimming trees. Hopefully the holidays are starting out good for you. Thanks for the crossfire help the other day. Always happy to help. If anybody ever needs any help, my help doesn't cost anything. You can email me at itsblunttyfpv at gmail.com. You can go to my Discord. I have a Discord link in the description. Anybody's welcome there. You don't have to be a patron to get on there, but if you are a patron, you'll get some extra benefit, like just an extra title and stuff, and a couple extra private rooms. But I'm happy to help you guys with anything you need help with. I spend all day troubleshooting on Bardwell's Discord and in private messages, and I'm happy to do it with you as well. Or if you just want to shoot the shit, so. Free Range Chicken RC is here. That's a good name. Free Range Chicken RC. Is this chicken local? Does anybody know that reference? How are you doing? I'm doing great. Sean RC and FPV says, do you have any kids, bro? I do not have any kids. I am, yeah, happily staying away from that for a while. Maybe one day, but there's no current candidates for that situation, so. Gonna leave that alone. Leave that alone for now. Andy Cooper. I have so much jello with my Beta 95X V2. Can't get rid of it. I'm on 1204 4500 kV motors. Someone said I might need to go to a higher frequency. I've been jamming, donated $5, man. Thank you so much. Merry Christmas. What does that say? You filthy animal. Awesome, man. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Merry Christmas to everyone here. Oh. Hey, Henry. Oh, so cute. All right. Where were we? Hold on. Threw me off. So you said someone said I may need to go to a higher frequency, like PWM frequency. That could help. It definitely might smooth things out a little bit. My understanding of like the Beta 95X V1 is the only real way to fix it is to like redo the camera mount. So you have to print like a new top, like a new canopy, and then you print these little TPU spacers, and they actually work like dampeners, and that's how they got around it on the V1. But I never printed them because my printer sucks, and I haven't dealt with it in a while. So Aerospace Inc. 53 says, I just got my tracer and set up my first tracer quad. Limiting testing so far because I have video issues. I do feel more locked in, but that could just be a psychosomatic effect. Yeah, I think there's a lot of psychosomatic stuff going on there, but you know, one thing people don't talk about a lot is like, if you've got a placebo, and the placebo performs better in a trial, so more people get better, or more people feel better, or more people have more energy, or less people commit suicide, or whatever the metric is, right? In your trial, your AB, placebo versus non-trial, I don't think it's a bad thing that that's a placebo, right? I mean, obviously we want to document that it is not a real effect, like from anything, like it's just a sugar pill that you said would work. But if people feel better and people are doing better and whatever, I think that's still positive. So in that respect, if you buy Tracer, and Tracer makes you fly better because you feel like you fly better, if you feel more confident, if you feel like you can make it around the corner better, I think that is going to help you fly as a better pilot. That's my opinion. A lot of pilots are a little bit nervous or a little shaky or whatever, and if you feel that much more locked in, maybe you'll feel a little less shaky, a little less nervous, and a little more confident to rip around those corners and do those power loops and that sort of thing. Double A is spoken on a Mimosa Strain, loud profile of tangerine. Have you had it? And if so, what are your thoughts? Mimosa. So Mimosa is probably the Crockett Tangie. I don't know if you know, there's two Tangies that I've encountered. There's a Crockett Farms Tangie. And there's like I don't even know what the other one is, where it's from. But it's just like the classic Tangie, I guess. That's been around for somewhere. Johnny donated $10. Man, that's amazing. You guys don't have to do that, but I really appreciate that so much, man. It definitely helps out my Christmas. So all that money, as soon as I pay my bills, all that money goes back to you guys, making better content, upgrading the stream setup, giving you guys more tutorials, more information. You know, if there's videos or anything you guys want to see, please let me know. Yeah, I'm making videos for you guys. So if there's something you really want to see and I get enough people asking, yeah, I'm happy to do that. Yeah, but what I was going to say is there's a Crockett Farms Tangie, and there's another Tangie that's been around for a while. I don't know the origin of. And one of them is like a heavy, like a sweet tangerine. It's like almost like a candy tangerine. Like smells like sickeningly sweet. And then there's another one, the Crockett Farms Tangie. And that's the one to me that's more like a It smells like alfalfa, and then inside the alfalfa, you've soaked it in citrus oil. And so, like, it's orange and tangerine, but it has like a hay or an alfalfa inside of the tangerine. And I've experienced that over many different cuts and many different things, like that are from the same general group. So, MK donated $5. Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it. I made a DJI HDMI out system, but DJI paid me to stay quiet. Well, if you donate enough money on Bardwell's channel, maybe we can have another fiasco on our hands. Just put up a sketchy video that looks like you figured it out and ask for people's money on Patreon. That seems to work for some people. If you don't know what we're talking about, A Day at the Range is quite a saga. I don't want to go too far into that. But I mean, he doesn't have a presence anymore, so saying his name doesn't help him. He deleted his Patreon and his YouTube and his personal email that I had and his personal website that I had. So yeah, I think he has gone on the lam, as they say. It's unfortunate. So I do believe he actually had something going there, but it's hard to actually know. BVTV says, have you ever been to Chicago? I have not. I've not been to Illinois in general. But I'm not opposed to going over there at some point. I want to get around the country at some point. Would love to do that. Maybe do like a traveling vlog and FPV in different cities and stuff. That'd be really awesome. Because I think a lot of these FPV guys are really tied down. I'm on a month-to-month lease here. I just have a roommate and a dog. If I can have the roommate watch the dog, or even move to somewhere cheaper, I could just kind of drive around and do whatever I want. So it's definitely been on my list of things to do. I don't know. We'll find out what happens. The world is my oyster, as they say. As long as we can keep making content for you guys, that's what's important. I will miss my Google Fiber, or not my Google Fiber, my CenturyLink fiber, but... Oh, we got a custom GIF. Love your work. Thanks so much. Helen Killer. What a name. That is a good name. Helen Killer. Good one. Thank you so much, man. Even $1, man. Everything helps out. Big Oily Guys here. How's it going, man? Welcome, welcome. Shenanigans here. Mimosa, thumbs up. Sounds good to me. Sixpack, 1946 is here. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you, man. El Leston's here. Hi, Blunty. Any news about improvements in shark bite? No, I think the only thing is that Foxeer Digi camera, Digisight, Foxeer Digisight. But the video on that didn't look that much better to me. There's some review videos out there. I think you have to kind of make your own calls on that, but I don't know. You know, the hope was that somehow the camera would change the system a lot or revolutionize things, but I don't know that there's that much headroom there. So I'm definitely interested to find out. Yeah, what happens there. So I just don't know if it's improvable. I really don't. I feel like they probably put their best foot forward when they put out that system. I don't know why you'd have hidden potential in something you spent millions of dollars into developing. I think you'd put it all out on the table and show people what you got. So I think what we got is what we're going to get, at least for a while. But I'm happy to be proven wrong because any competitor is good for the market. Prismail FPV. Second time flying bandos myself and smashed the rear screen on the Hero 9. Still works though. Good thing it was the rear screen, and good thing it still works. At least it wasn't the lens or anything like that. Or at least you didn't smash the GoPro apart. Double A. Ear cheers to Shenanigan. We've got Tyler Harris. Says this one is more accurate. This looks like a spam link, but I will open it. Okay, all right. Hey, you did the work, so we will pop over there and check out your work. We've got an FPV Starter Pack. Wizard X220 with the Fly Sky. i6S, or whatever that thing is. We've got the Fly Sky receiver, the i6B. Got our Hobby King charger. Our Eoshin goggles. Yeah, this is good. FPV Starter Pack, indeed. Indeed. Travis Stevens. How's it going, man? Good to see you here. Sean RC and FPV. Sorry I didn't get your answer. Had to take your call. Do you have kids? I do not have kids. Nope. Have not tried. Don't have anybody that I would make kids with. Happy to be that way so far. I've been jamming. What for indoor freestyle and races would you recommend? I bought a Beetle Halm, but it's bigger than expected. Yeah. You want to race a 65. Most races you're going to compete in, like if you're actually doing like a Whoop indoor freestyle race, you're going to have to fly a 65. Most of them don't let you fly anything else. And it's got to be a 1S. So I would personally say the Hummingbird F4 Pro or the B-Brain Brushless V2 now is the one. There were issues with the Hummingbird F4 Pro, but those have been fixed. Looks like maybe the Mobilite 6 would be good, but maybe it's too fragile. I know the Mobula is hit or miss, like Happy Model can be super good or super bad with quality control, but it's hard to deny that the Mobula 6 was really revolutionary when it came out for the price and the quality. So I would guess the Mobilite 6 is a pretty good quad. I've heard good things about it. I'm just drinking Diet Coca-Cola. I know that's a sin to some people, but I do not consume any alcohol, so it's only marijuana for me, cannabis, no alcohol. Let's see. Trying to catch up with the chat. You guys have really been picking up on the chat as last time. Sean RC and FPV says it's hard to find where to donate. Let's see. I mean, you can donate at the link just under this in the description. Super easy. Should be anyway. And then, let's see. You said, do you have Facebook to contact people? Sean says, if you get questions from your patron. Yep, I do have a Facebook. It's just, It's Blunty. That's a page on Facebook. I do have a page for the thing. You can like that and send a message to that. I do have a Discord that's linked down at the bottom, or when you sign up for Patreon, it's automatically should give you a link to the Discord as well. You can always message me there directly, and I'm happy to help you with any of that. Sean also says, in realistic expectations of Crossfire 2-watt, what do you think range would be? It totally depends on where you live. That's the issue. Yeah, it really just depends on where you live, what your noise floor is like where you're flying, and how clear the conditions are. Things like that are going to really be dependent. Yeah, just make sure you're doing testing. Travis Stevens says, man, is Blunty always spitting the wisdom? Crossfire made me a better pilot, not because of the lower latency, but because of the added confidence it gave me to take risks. I 100% agree. If you're flying an XM Plus, you're worried about fail-safing across the park. If you're flying Crossfire, you're worried about fail-safing like past your video. And so suddenly, I'm not worried about anything anymore. Let's do it. So. Johnny Marina says the $10 is for your pup. The fat strap you received a burn is for you. Awesome, man. I will definitely spend that on Henry. No doubt. Johnny Marina is actually sending me a fat strap with pot leaves on it that he bought by accident. And he kindly decided to send that to me, so that's super kind. I'll be using that for sure. Happy to use that fat strap. And I'll be showing it on the stream too. Let's see. Market Zero is asking about a day at the range's DJI giveaway. I did not participate in any of that, so I do not know. Buddha FPV's here. Yo, Buddha, how's it going? Sasha's here. How's it going? Wonder if the DigiSight may look better on analog, but I assume analog is still locked on 480p. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm really not sure, man. I just haven't done enough analog because I hopped on the digital train pretty early, so I'm not 100% clear on how analog comes in the goggle. I think if it's like a native, I don't know enough about it, so. BVTV, I've smashed 4 Hero 9s. That is brutal. Oh man, that's brutal. Sorry to hear that. Torin 11, have you tried Tracer? Thoughts compared to Crossfire? Thanks for keeping me up to date. I have a Crossfire to unbox, so, or a Tracer to unbox, so I will be doing the comparison. I've had enough requests at this point to let people try, or let people know what my experiences with Tracer are and how the binding and setup and do I have pads rip off and all this jazz. So I think I have to bust one open and try it out. I have the last batch, I think, You know, it shipped just a few weeks ago, a couple weeks ago. So I should see any of the current issues or problems or see the newest receiver setup. So I will definitely be giving that a shot to see what I think about it. I'm gonna stay with chat. FPV noob. Hey man, do you have any idea what might be wrong with my quad? I crash, and now when I do a quick throttle up, my quad wants to do a quick yaw right movement, almost does a jerky movement. Unfortunately, that sounds to me like a gyro issue. Ah, man, that's a bummer. Make sure you're not in angle mode or something. Like, obviously, if you're in acro mode and you're getting that like quick yaw right every time, and it's always a yaw right, man, I might look at logs and just see why it's yawing. See if you're getting like a yaw command on your like RC signal. You can go into Black Box Explorer and look at your RC input, and just make sure your RC input for your yaw or your yaw command is not being called. And then look at your yaw gyro and see if you can see your yaw gyro moving with that, and it's like moving past the set point, or if you have the set point moving for some reason. Maybe it'll give us some better indication of what's going on and then get back to me. Either on YouTube or Discord or wherever. Buddha FPV says, no, I hate seeing anyone get into FPV with Fly Sky. Yeah, that's kind of the meme. It's like everybody ends up doing that. So, Sean RC and FPV says, you seem really invested in your stream and you seem very knowledgeable. You and Bardwell are very good. Where's the $ to donate to you? I need more watched hours. So hopefully in a few months, I will have the $. Right now, I have to use like Streamlabs or some other source for that. So. Buddha says, unless you're just using a sim or a Whoop, Fly Sky's a no-go. 100%. I think TX16S is a good starter radio at this point, or just a Tango 2. Depends on how hard you want to go. So, schulerl says, I'm trying to bind a Moblite 6 to a TX16S. Can anyone help me? I believe the Moblite 6 should be an SPI receiver. So you want to go into the config tab and make sure you have serial-based, whichever it is, the thing that says SPI, and then you're going to select one of the options there is SPI. And then you're going to select either FreeSky X to bind in D16, which is probably the thing you should do, or FreeSky D, which will bind in D8. But you want to do FreeSky X, which will bind in D16, then you'll save that and reboot it, and then go into the CLI and type bind or bind_RX or bind RX, one of those commands, and it should put it into binding mode, and you should be able to bind in D16. Ratatat is here. How's it going, man? Good to see you. MK, link in the description. Yep. Crack at FPV. What's up, Patrick? Not much. How's it going, man? Good to see you. Fat Boy says no alcohol for me either. Just weeds. Let's see. Buddha FPV. Just trapped my first legal grow. Ended up with 4 ounces on 1 critical purple auto. Awesome, man. Good to hear. It's not too bad for your first run. 4 ounces of dry bud or 4 ounces of wet bud? Because that is going to shrink up if it's just chopped. So, just FYI. I think a lot of people are like, oh, I got so much weed. And then where did it all go? It's all water. Let's see. BVTV says, like this video for good luck. 31 likes. That's awesome. We're up to 69 concurrent viewers. Good to go. HB says, I'm still worried about losing my quad. I don't think you should be. I would say that. Once you've flown it a couple times and you know everything's set up and your antennas are all oriented correctly, it's pretty rare to just have it drop out. So. Other people have good ideas, like Archangel asks, is it a twin gyro FC? If it is, you can try to switch to a different gyro. It might be doing sensor fusion, so it could be combining 2 gyros, or it could be picking one and you could pick the other one if it is 2. So Let's see. I was under the impression, Brandon's Baked Beans, that on the new AIOs, there's no issues with D16. That's only on the older AIOs. But I could be wrong. Let's see. Pilot Extreme says, any way to convert PID values from silverware to Betaflight? I'm not sure. I'd assume they're direct, but if they're not direct, then I have no idea. Let's see. Archimedes is a fat strap usable on Orca goggles. I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. Food FPV says it is dry. That's awesome. 4 ounces is not bad. HB's out. Good to see you, man. Let's see. PVTV, I've got a USB that fell off my board. I'm pissed. That's a bummer. Which board did it fall off of? Buddha FPV. Let's see. Travis says GPS rescue plus crossfire gave me ultimate confidence. Yeah, GPS rescue is really gonna be the ticket. If you get it set up correctly and you're far enough away, it just comes back. And you can set up the distance at which it changes to, like, on Betaflight, you have to go a certain distance before it triggers the return to home. But there is a new, there's like a feature you can change in the CLI that will reduce that distance. And I think that's now in the actual UI on Betaflight. So you can just change the actual distance. Brandon's Big Bean says, oh yeah, well, my Mobula 6 used to lock up on D16. Yeah, Mob 6, Tiny Hawk boards, the Tiny Hawk AIOs, quite a few of those Whoop boards will lock up on D16. I've just heard, from my understanding, is that the new ones do not. But yeah, Brandon's Big Beans does bring up a good point. It's for a lot of the older Whoops and possibly for the newer ones as well, SPI does not behave well on D16 and can fail safe. So if you do see that, or if you want to avoid that, you can buy in a D8 instead. D16 should have a little better stuff, but I don't know that there's really any major difference anyway. So might as well just use D8, I guess. I mean, it's a Whoop, so don't need anything fancy. Big Easy FPV. Oh, the capitals and lowercase threw me off there. Big Easy FPV says, hi, how's it going, man? Tournament 11 says, any news this week? New products. I can pull up what I have, but I don't think I have much. I have been slacking a little bit because I don't have a Bardwell around for a couple weeks, so we don't have a news show. I'll see if I have anything now. I don't think. Yeah, not too much. Not too much. Yep, let me check one more place. Sorry for the delay here. All right, I got a couple things we could talk about. One is that there are random reports. There's a Reddit thread. That's the random reports. There's a Reddit thread where multiple people have said there's an issue with the Tango 2, where when they put it in the cold weather, I guess it's really cold, but when they put it in the cold weather, for some reason, one of the sticks stops responding correctly and will just randomly jump. And obviously that's not good. However, I asked Bardwell to try and test that for me because he has a Tango 2. I do not have a Tango 2 currently. And he was not able to reproduce it by leaving his Tango 2 outside all day. I think it was like 40, 45 where he was, but that seems cold enough to me to trigger something like that. But maybe something to know. So Let's see. Yeah, that's about it. Not much more than that. Oh, there is one more place. I keep forgetting places. One more place. 1G FPV. Okay, here we go. I did get an email from... So there's a Brain FPV Radix 2. New flight controller coming out. That is apparently supposed to be something. So we can check that out. Let's put that up and switch on over. It's the H7 pre-order coming soon. Heard lots of good things about it, but I really don't know too much about it. I think it has 8 motor outputs by default. Yeah, there's an extra motor output port with 5, 6, 7, 8 on it. It's nice and convenient. And yeah, you can use an extra 5-pin cable. H7, $65 for an H7 doesn't seem bad. It does have the Radix graphical OSD, so that means you'll need a custom Betaflight target because they don't use a standard OSD solution. Let's see. It does have a built-in voltage regulator. Driverless flashing, which is interesting. Not sure what that means. And they also sell it with a companion power board. So, yeah, seems interesting. I'll look into this a little more. They're using the new Bosch gyro. It's got a barometer on it. It's got a camera switcher on it. A lot of features for a $65 FC here. VTX pit switch. It's got flash memory. Simply copy the firmware file to the flight controller when connected to your computer. No more messing with DFU drivers. I don't understand how this works, but I'm interested to find out. 6 UARTs, I2C, RGB, buzzer, camera control for analog RSSI, 5-volt reg. The only thing I don't see is a DJI regulator. So, other than that, this looks pretty good to me. But I do not see any kind of solution for DJI. You just have to run it off VBAT. Yeah, otherwise that seems pretty awesome. Pretty interesting. All right. Back we go. BPTV says his issue was with the AIO JHE MCU, I would guess is what that means, F4? Not sure. Oh, let's see. Sean RC and FPV says, I really want a camera for my 5-inch, but the Hero 7 is like 350 Canadian dollars. Do you think I can ever get a decent video from a Runcam Orange? I'm not super sure. I'm not a GoPro guy. I only have a Session. It's not even a Session 5. It's like the original Session. That's pretty much all I do, so. Pilot Extreme says, would you be willing to do a whoop racing video with practice drills and typical race lines? I'm not sure what that would look like. Practice drills for me have just been stuff I talked about in that first video, which is I did a video called Countdown to Whooptopia. And so in there, I just talk about, I think the best thing to do is just set up courses and race them. And if you can, have somebody else set them up for you so you don't know where you're going and you don't know anything about them. And then have them give you a track walk and start ripping down on the course and see how fast you can get your times down, how quick. Doing that sight reading practice, learning those courses live is going to train you. And maybe race on the sim in some of the more popular Whoop tracks just to see what people do on Whoop tracks, or watch videos or DVR from Whoop tracks. I'll consider that for a video though, for sure. Travis Stevens says that feature is sanity checks for GPS rescue for distance. Good to know. Zach Gonzalez says Insta360 Go 2 is coming out soon. It's good to hear. I don't have any experience with it, but the first one seems pretty cool. Buddha FPV says, do you only fly whoops pretty much, or do you fly bigger quads? I'd like to see some freestyle vids. I don't think I'll be putting out any freestyle videos. There's 1,000 freestyle videos. Every single person has a freestyle video, even people with 10 viewers. I am not better at freestyle than most people, so I can't see a reason I would ever put out a freestyle video. Maybe that'll change one day, but that's not what I would want to do with my time or channel, I don't think. I want to provide information for people, or like document stuff that people don't do a lot, like whoop racing, where I'm like talking about the racing, or yeah, stuff like that is more like my style. So Ratatat says, put it in the freezer. Yeah, I don't have one to try, but I don't think Bardwell put it in the freezer. Let's see. Buddha FPV says, I'm getting a bit of a white line video noise that increases with throttle. I already have a cap soldered in. What would you suggest I do? Move your ground. I think you want to make the VTX and camera ground common, or as close to each other as possible. So maybe look at moving ground or moving power sources for things. Maybe experiment around with that. So Archimedes says, I'm guessing it's like updating the Toolkit RC M6D when you connect via USB. It will add new hardware and you just copy firmware to it. Yeah, that would be awesome. If it's like, oh, a hard drive. Yeah, if you just drag the hard drive on, but then like, so I guess or drag the firmware on. So you just drag the firmware onto it, and then you boot it back up in your goggles, I guess, and then you update through the goggles or something. Interesting. Interested to hear about how that works. BVTV says, I'm building a hydrophobe. Have you heard about this frame? I've heard the name, but I haven't really looked into what it is. Let's check it out. Oh, this is weird. Sandy Shen, though, so it's got some kind of basis behind it. This is for Gab 707, I think is his name. Interesting. So it's just a waterproof TPU shield that goes like in between the carbon plates. How waterproof is this? I guess it's just water resistant, I'm gonna guess. This probably doesn't have a very high IP rating. This is interesting though. Do you like silicone it in there or something? That's wild. Huh. Interesting. Interested to hear how it goes. Travis Stevens says, what are your thoughts on all the new game controller style transmitters coming out? There's a Ready Master T8 and a Jumper T-Lite coming out. Even the DJI FPV TX looks to be compact. Yeah, I assume that's from the sales of the Tango 2. TBS puts out a good product. I mean, I don't know. A lot of people like game style controllers, so I think that's fine. I like large style controllers, so I'll wait for the TBS full size, which I'm sure will come eventually. I don't know where or when, but I'm hoping it will come eventually. I might go there at that point, but to me, they're just not my style. If you like that style controller, I think they're perfectly fine. iFlight is actually coming out with a clone of the T8 as well. That's supposed to like be competing with the Beta FPV light radio. So let's see. Duvar says, what are you doing for Christmas? Not much. Hanging out at the house, being with the dog. Maybe we'll get some turkey or something for Henry. Hot take. I'm sure I'm going to divide people on this one. I do not think turkey is a very good meat. I think it's a scam by Big Turkey that people eat turkey on holidays like Thanksgiving and Christmas. So certainly not going to indulge in that unless I have to. And then as far as other stuff, I'm just not a big holiday guy. My family's about 3,000 miles away, so happy to just chill. It's another day for me, but that's fine. Happy that it is. FPV Noob says still looking into the throttle up yaw issue. I'm in acro mode with the accelerometer off and it's still happening. Trying to figure out how to use black box. Yeah, you should just go to the black box tab, enable recording at 1 kilohertz. Go ahead and do gyro scaled as your debug mode. And probably, depending on your size of your flash memory, probably want to set up a switch in the modes tab to turn on and off the black box logging. And then just flip the switch on before you fly, arm, do a flight, and then come back. Make sure you're triggering that yaw issue. Go to that point in the flight on the log in Black Box Explorer when you open it later, and see if you're seeing the RC input. Move with the quad. For more information, also UAV Tech has a really good resource for that. TheUAVTech.com has a tuning section, and I think he has a black box section that should teach you at least about his presets and how to load that stuff. So Archangel also says is holding out for a TBS radio, big TBS radio. Yeah, I'm hoping that happens. Trappy teased that a long time ago, and then we never really saw it, so we shall see. Sean RC says, do you think I could get used to it? iFlight Alpha 85 with a throttle limit for inside because they only have DJI goggles. I'm sure you could, but you're not going to be racing with a 85 millimeter Whoop. So if you're just trying to fly around your house just because you want to fly, I mean, you can definitely do that, especially in a larger house. But otherwise, there's not like, so you're not going to be like competitive or having a good time racing, I don't think. A good time like cruising medium to slow through your house, I think, is more what you're going to get. It's just not as nimble. So, especially with the 85 with the DJI in it. Beta has a Beta 75X HD with a decased Vista. That might be your best option. That's like 50 grams, but still seems to be a better option than an iFlight Alpha 85 if you're trying to find something fun to fly inside. Travis Stevens says it's Mambo time, although I think the Mambo will be X9 light sized. Yeah, I assume that Mambo is a new radio. You know, we said on the FPV News a while back, if you don't know, I do that with Bardwell. Normally every week on Tuesdays we do the FPV News, but we're on hiatus for a couple weeks while Bardwell goes on vacation. But we did have a leak a while back where we were able to see that in the push notes for Freedom TX and Open TX, they had a push for the Mambo. So it does look like the Mambo is the full-size controller, where the Tango was the normal size, you know, the game's controller size, Xbox controller size controller. I don't know how else to say that. Controller size controller. Yeah, so it might be Mambo time. We'll see. BVTV says completely waterproof. Interesting. John Lads is here. Hey, bro. Sorry I'm late. Been hanging with Ciati. No problem, man. Good to see you. Archangel says, I'm guessing it will be a collab with Radio Master. Yeah, probably, because that's how they're doing the multi-protocol modules. So I would have to assume that's the case. BVTV says E6000 the whole thing. That's quite a... Boy, that'd be gross. Wait, you really do that? Or is that like a offhanded comment? I don't know, because I don't know that frame, so seems not feasible. Divar says TBS Mambo. Yep, hoping it's like the X9D. Steele said had a say in the Mambo. I'm just wondering why we haven't seen it yet. So Jitter says, did you try the light radio? How did the gimbals feel? Well, like your name is what I've heard. Jitter is how the gimbals are. Unfortunately, I've heard somebody been through 3 or 4. I think he's on the 4th one, and he's had to replace gimbals on all of them. So Travis Stevens says 100% down with Big Turkey. We're going to start a movement. The anti-turkey movement. I'm going to get taken down by Big Turkey. BVTV says, what was your first drone? My first drone was Mobula 7, which is total garbage. It was totally garbage. I would not have stayed in the hobby. I just got lucky and ended up buying more shit. But my Mob 7 was horribly shaky on the default tune and like wobbled everywhere. I think I had a bad gyro. That board still does not work well, even though I put it in a 65mm whoop frame. I think I just got really bad, like really unlucky. So, but yeah, Mob 7. Then I got like a Tiny Hawk 2 and a B-Brain brushless, I think. Somewhere in there was about my first drones. And then I built a Skyliner HD. And my first drone that I built, was a Micro Alien 3-inch that Ciati helped me build or design, like with the parts. Ciati spent a decent amount of time helping me with that, so I do appreciate that. And a couple other guys in Ciati's chat, I think Crunked and somebody else's name that I know if I see it, but I don't know offhand. So it's been a while, been about a year. Dan Richmond's here. How's it going, man? Bill Grimes, turducken all the way. Ooh. Aber the Ham's here. How's it going, man? Mr. Shady, pulled pork is the future. I think you should buy futures in pulled pork. That's what I would say. No, seriously though, pulled pork is the future. Pulled pork is the best. Chicken, pork, anything like that, as long as it's not turkey. Or most game, I don't think is very great. Like a duck isn't wonderful. Any of those gamey bird meats are just not great. To me, anyway. Everybody, you know, think your own. Newbie drone flyby frame. Never heard of that. Buddha FPV is asking about that. That looks old. Is this old frame? This has got to be an old frame. Let's just look at new products. Yeah, this is probably an old frame. I think this looks like it's going to break. Oops, that's the wrong one. Let's go here. This is the Newbie Drone flyby racing frame. What is the weight on this? 80 grams. No, don't buy this frame. It doesn't matter that it's $10. Don't buy this frame. This is going to break. 100,000%. Look at this frame. This will break. Like, you're not going to convince me this won't break. Sorry. Buy a switchback. Spend the money. This is probably on discount, I'm going to guess, because they're trying to get rid of them or something. Yeah, buy a switchback. A switchback's like 55 grams. We've come a long way. This might have been cool when it came out. I don't know when, but do not buy that frame. That is all. Okay. Let's see. Archimedes. People eat turkey because it can't fly away or fight back. Same with other animals like chickens and cows. That's probably true. I would agree. But I don't know. Turkey, yeah. It's there, so they ate it. That's going to be my answer. Browser on Tykes here. Merry Christmas, man. How's it going? Good to see you. Sean RC says, what's the smallest you could use DJI with? Yeah, 75, I think. Is the Beta 75X decased is the smallest one I've ever seen. And it's kind of heavy. So, seems pretty heavy to me. But it's flyable. A lot of people like the smaller whoops of DJI on them. I still think it's too heavy. I'm waiting on like a 6-gram camera VTX combo to put on a 65. So. Pepboy FPV says gamepad. That's a good way to say it. Gamepad style controller. There you go. Abraham says 75 is nice outside, 65 indoors. Yeah, I think you can fly 75 inside, but it needs to be lighter than a normal 75. It needs to be like a, you know, it is what it is though. DJI doesn't have any options, so unfortunately. Fatboy says, and they're selling their stuff, Masterfire combo sets with Crossfire and TXC 16S. Yeah, that is true. They do seem in bed with Radio Master, so. But then again, I think the Tango 2 was like all their design, so it's interesting that they would then outsource another radio to somebody else, but I guess if you already have a radio to base it off of, like the TX16S, then you might as well go that direction. Archimedes points out if the quad is completely waterproof, then the cooling must suffer 100%. Just depends on like how hot the quad's actually getting. But I would definitely agree with that. N3 frame. Nifrane? Nifrane? Hey Blunty, do you know how to get the last known GPS coordinates shown on the transmitter via Mavlink and Crossfire? I have Crossfire Micro TX and a Radiomaster TX16S would be great for DJI users. Yeah, the way I do it is just record. I don't have a way to set up so I can show you. But here, let me just tell you what it's called. Maybe I can show it to the screen here. But yeah, you go in and record. The way I would do it is just record your GPS location by recording your telemetry onto your SD card. That seems to be, to me, the easiest way. And to do that, you're just going to go to Special Functions. So that's going to be in your model screen. I don't know if you can see that. Probably not. Nope. All right, well. Anyway, you go to your model screen, you go to Special Functions, and then you're going to add a special function. And that special function is going to be, let's see, on a timer, I think. Ba-da-ba-ba-da. SD logs. Yes, so yeah, you're just going to set up for the option for SD logs. You can set that to on, or however you want to trigger that special function. You could do it on a switch or something as well. But whenever you trigger that special function with whatever you set in special functions, you'll get SD logs recorded as often as you set the time setting. So there's also a time setting there. So you could set like every 2 seconds, you record the SD logs, and that will record all the telemetry off the SD card and put it in a CSV table on the SD card for you. There's tons of room on the SD card for SD logs. And then you'll always have the last GPS location. As far as recalling it back on the radio, I do believe there's a way to do that, but I'm not familiar with how to do that. Let's see. Archangel says, come on, show some love to the Mavic Mini. When was the last time you flew it? I don't know, like a year ago when I bought FPV stuff. I don't have any point. I don't see any reason to fly the Mavic Mini. I don't have like a business where I get video, and I don't like want to show you guys cinematic video of my house or anything. I don't know. Maybe there'll be a time when I use it, but I've considered selling it many times. It is still up on the wall back there, but it just doesn't fit my lifestyle and use. So. Elton Korea is here. Me Drone's here. How's it going, guys? Zach says it is a really old newbie drone frame. That makes sense. Ratatat says switchback for sure, best race frame. Yeah, I think that's 100% what I would do. Is get the switchback if you really want a race frame. That's like, I think like 70% of the people at Champs were using switchbacks this year. And it seems like that's the ticket, so. LCV FPV. Have you heard any quality control issues with Radiomaster TX16S? No, I have not. I think the really early ones felt like the roller was going to push in or something. I think they like tilted weirdly, but I don't. As far as I know, that's not the case anymore. I do not have one, but I've heard good things about them. So, and I have not heard anything like super negative or anything like that. Let's see. Mr. Shady says Henry VIII was apparently the first English monarch to have turkey at Christmas, which made it popular in England land. Was that before? I don't know time frames. I'm not going to make myself sound dumb there. So. Zach says that frame is an aluminum plate that the air unit sits on to act as a heat sink. I see. So they did think about the heat issue. That's good. Edoc says the Mavic is good to give to non-FPV friends at a field to use as your air obstacle filming target. That's a good idea. Actually a really good idea. Mr. Shady says the Mavic Mini flies you. 100%. Nefrain says, nice solution, thanks. Next question. How do I get the GPS coordinates sent via telemetry? Should just have to set that up. I think that will come in as long as you set up the GPS in Betaflight. That should come in right over the crossfire. Archangel says, yeah, I'm in the same. I have one and thought about selling a few times, but it's fun for family pics and the nieces and nephews love flying it. Yeah, it seems, yeah, that's a good point. Seems good for flying with like, just randomly, like at a park or something, or giving it to a family member. Though I will say, if you don't, like, you should set it up for them, because if you don't, they could crash it. Because when I first got my Mavic Mini, I put my Mavic Mini down on the ground, I had it all configured and set up, but I didn't wait long enough, and I didn't see this message that I saw later popped up as I was recording my phone screen. The message popped up like right as I clicked the button to set my to make it fly, to like fly the fly button or whatever it is in the DJI app. And so the compass wasn't calibrated, and it went up, and it was kind of windy, and so I started going a little bit like this, and all of a sudden, sorry, like this, and all of a sudden, it just went like this, and wow, it took off. And it took off about 400 feet down, luckily, to a park, and fell into the park after hitting a tree. And I was able to recover, and it wasn't that bad. But, I mean, it straight up took off, and it was because it was using bad compass data. Which is, I have to assume is the case. I pulled the flight logs afterwards and had some people look at it in the DJI forums, and they said the same. So let that be a lesson to any of you that use DJI camera drones. Make sure that compass is calibrated and working properly, because it will let you take off without it. At least on the Mini. The 3 is supposed to be an E. All right, good to know, Nefrain. Fatboy FPV says, TX16S are super solid in my opinion. I've completely tore them down. Quality on inside for the price. Quality on the inside for the price. Okay, good to know. Good to know. Let's see. Zach says, Gap707 has a doctorate in physics, I believe. Smart dude, and he designed that frame. I assume you mean the one that I was talking about with Andy Shen. Yeah, that makes sense. It just depends on, yeah, I don't know. Again, I didn't see really how it's sealed, but if it seals with like E6000 or something, that seems, I don't know. I'm more of the opinion that instead of trying to make an air barrier, you should just do the thing that everybody does and epoxy everything together, or use some kind of like vinyl wrap or something like that, waterproof kit, the Deep Designs kit. To me makes more sense. Yeah, I think no matter what, you're dealing with heat in a design like that, so. Archangel says, yeah, I had to run away with the Mini early on, so I always do a calibration now. Yeah, I started doing a calibration every time I fly it. 100%. All right. Switch over here real quick, and we can look at the new Gem Fan Christmas prop. Something to see. Gem Fan's got a Christmas themed propeller. Got some reindeer, some trees, snowflake. that sort of thing. Getting the Christmas spirit with the jump fan propellers. I haven't seen any Christmas motors yet, like the Halloween motors, but maybe anytime. BVTV says it has an aluminum bottom plate which dissipates heat using thermal paste. Interesting. So so it works for the air unit is the idea, and then you're thermal pasting the outside of the air unit casing, I guess. Interesting. I would think it would make more sense to decase the air unit, like to build that frame such that because you're enclosing everything anyway, you would decase the air unit. Because why would you leave the case on it? And then you could actually heatsink all the components. Maybe that's what you're supposed to do, but. LCV FPV says, "What's your favorite split camera?" I've never used a split camera, so I do not have a choice. I do not know. The Caddx Loris is not a split camera, but that seems like a decent, like 4K camera DVR thing. You're looking for analog options like that. BVTV says, "It rains a lot and snows a lot where I live. This drone can easily take that weather." That's good to know. The hydrophobe. Mr. Shady said, "Props aren't just for Christmas." That's true. I think these props are supposed to be just for Christmas, but yeah. I've been jamming says, "Have you watched iGal this year?" A little bit. I haven't, I haven't watched too much. Like I haven't been like keeping up with it, but I have watched it every now and then. So, let's see. Steve King says, "Have a TBS Unify Pro VTX and RunCam have crisscross lines in the video. What would cause?" Any time with the lines in the video, I would either look at adding a capacitor, or I would look at putting your grounds to common, your powers to common sources. So that sort of thing. Ben Scott says, "Finally caught a live. I'm a Colorado local. Any suggestions on where to fly near Denver or Northeast Colorado?" Not too much. I mean, there's some random places. Broomfield RC Field, I think, is sometimes where people go, but really what most people do is go to Denver Tech Center, and they're flying places like Curry and Capitol. So yeah, maybe you could look up Curry and Capitol Denver, and you'll find the permanently closed location. Fly something like that on the weekend, but I personally would just drive around DTC on a weekend and look for empty parking lots. You'll find plenty of cool things to fly. Just don't make security people mad, and don't fly somewhere it looks like you shouldn't be, and you'll probably be fine. Maybe the Ham says, "Tarsier, don't waste your money." B-Man says, "RunCam Split 3 Nano is really good." E-Doc says, "RunCam Hybrid's good." Abraham says he does not like the lag of most split cameras. Interesting. Did not know there was a lag on a split camera. Because you have two cameras. Isn't that the point of having two cameras? I think the Tarsier is or not the Tarsier, the Loris is a hybrid camera, but I think the other ones listed were splits. So like the Split 3 Nano, or the Tarsier is a split, I think. I don't know. I've never used them, so. L. Lesson says, "It seems the DJI FPV goggles are out of stock all over." Yeah, they went in and out of stock for a while, but I think the big indicators that DJI now lists them out of stock as well. The rumor's been in January the 8th, but I don't see that from any real source, just a random website that has gotten things right or wrong before, so not really sure if I trust the 8th, but I would expect it to come pretty soon, the V2 goggles, so don't really know. As far as I know, pretty sure. I have it on good authority. but people with a NDA are currently using the DJI FPV drone, other than all the leaked images and all the footage and all the things that would have been faked, and the FCC documents that match those things. Yeah. Let's see. I think we'll see a V2 soon. And the FPV drone kit will come out. I'm worried they're not going to sell the goggles separately, but since they got rid of the V1 SKU, like since it looks like they're not selling that anymore, I would expect to see the V2s. So, Archangel says, do you use the DJI radio? And if you do you find the stick calibration super annoying or just my OCD? I've only done the stick calibration one time. I don't know. Doesn't seem that annoying to me. I don't remember it actually. Edoc says, hybrid has less lag and better picture, but takes more space in the quad due to the double camera. Wait, so the hybrid is the double and the split's single? I'm confused. No, I'm confused. Mr. Shady. Blunty, what would be your ultimate build? Probably like an Apex. Yeah, I don't know. I really don't have a ultimate build. I think so many parts have pros and cons. Ultimate build would be an Apex with like a newbie drone stack or something like that. Some nice motors. I don't know. There's like 8 different companies that make motors I would buy. Yeah, I'm not sure. DJI would be on it. That's a hard one. Let's see. Abraham, I got was a blast, but I went out after week 17. Nice. It's nice to have time for other quads again. Archimedes says Cadex Loris has one of the best recordings, probably highest bitrate, but FPV feed is crap. Ordered one just for recording, and I'm using separate FPV camera. Interesting. That's the one that comes in that Beagle drone. Cinewoop will be the Cadex Loris. Just food for, something to know. I've been jamming since I bought an HD bundle on Banggood for $820 with the goggle and sold the goggles for $550 and got a nice HD drone for $270. Yeah, that makes sense. The goggles are probably selling pretty well right now. Steve King says eBay has them. I'm sure they do. eBay always has everything. Abraham says most split cams are actually hybrids. The Tarsier was the first with 2 lenses. Interesting. So everybody's basically saying the names are fucked up. Good to know. Archangel says, yes, I'm using caps, but y'all need to give a thumbs up. Yeah, we could get a like on some likes on the video would be helpful for the algorithm, if you guys don't mind. Right about, oh, there we go. That's a little bump in our likes there. Appreciate that for you guys, from you guys. Raider FPV's here. How's it going, man? Happy holidays. Raider FPV says my DJI controller is calibrated perfectly, never an issue. Yeah, mine's never gone out of calibration. I use it quite a bit. I use it for all my DJI quads because it's just easier. But that'll probably change with the Tracer. I think Tracer's finally an excuse to start swapping some more stuff. So. I've been jamming says, hey, Quad Daddy. How's it going? Quad Daddy FPV is here. I was like, what? I'm not the Quad Daddy. Archangel. Let's see. Mine always seems to be a tiny bit out, but I know it's not enough to matter, but I still go in and trim them manually. Interesting. Mr. Shady, won't the DJI V2 just have dual frequency to make it compatible with the DJI FPV drone? I don't know what that means. Dual frequency. The DJI V2 should work with the FPV drone, from what we know. Should work with all the V1 VTXs and all the current hardware. At least that's my understanding. Ooze FPV. Yo, Blunty, what grow light should I get for a short 120 centimeter tall tent? Boy, that is short, huh? 120 centimeter tall.
Oof. 4 feet. Boy. I probably get LED. Probably like a 100 or 200 watt LED. Depends on how wide you're growing. You could try a CFL. CFL is not going to penetrate 4 feet though. CFL is going to penetrate like 6 to 12 inches. So in 4 feet, I would probably go with a low wattage LED. Not sure what brand. I'd probably buy Cobb's and build my own if I was going to do it. Cobb's are chip on board, COB. You could look those up. There's a bunch of Chinese Cobb panels that you can buy and wire your own together. Turon 11 says, trying to get used to the DJI controller but not warming up to it. Think of getting a TX16S with Crossfire. Yeah, to me, the DJI controller is very similar to like a TX16S, a T16, X9 Lite, you know, those style controllers. I think they're pretty close. I can swap between my T16 and my DJI controller without really any change of anything. So I think if you don't like the form factor, I'd maybe look at, you know, going down to the gamepad style controller. Depending on what you like to go, what you like to go with, you know. Browser on Tyke says, if those V2 work with Mavics and Inspires or Phantoms together, that would just make it easier for upgraders with DJI drones. Yeah, that's not going to happen. I mean, it'd be cool if that happened. I can't imagine that happens. I just think they're not trying to put those together. So. Whoops, I clicked the intro card button. My bad. Thanks, Crut. Nobody said anything. Might have just done that. Let's see. L. Leston says it depends. Some people don't like the shape. Yeah, I think that's the thing. It's, do you like the larger controllers or not? Archangel recommends a Spider Farmer LED. It's probably expensive as shit. Let's see. SF2000 is a 200 watt LED panel for $299. I can guarantee you buy Cobb's for cheaper than that. Yeah, I would just buy Cobb's and build your own. Throw some heat sinks on the top. Call it a day. Yeah, Browser on Tech says almost $200 for Spider Farmers. Yeah, I think it depends on what size panel you get. Amazon's got this one listed at $300, the SF2000, but I would probably just buy Cobb's. That way, too, you know the spectrum you're getting if you buy Cobb's. And you know the power supply is good, that sort of thing. Keith, you're late. Sorry to change back. Thanks, though. Mr. Shady says, I find the QX7 really comfortable compared to X9D. Yeah, the QX7 is its own special size, I think. It's a little bit smaller than the big controllers. Kind of has its own little niche as far as that goes. Ivan Jamin says, how did you get involved with JB? Answered questions on his Discord, made a couple videos. He saw the videos were good and asked me to work with him. That's about it. He just reached out to me one day and said, hey, do you want to do videos with me? And I said, yeah. It's pretty easy. Travis Stevens says, what do you think the next big innovation will be in FPV will be? 2019, 2020 gave us the rise of digital. What do you think 2021 will be? I haven't been around long enough to really know, probably. I don't think we're done with the rise of digital either. So I don't know that we're really there yet. It's hard to say, man. I really don't know. Interested to see what other people think. What do you guys think will be the next big thing in FPV? Fatboy FPV says, like Blunny said before, LEDs you get from manufacturers don't always deliver on the output. Make your own if you can solder. Yeah, the other thing to say is that, you know, originally a lot of these LED panels were like labeled as, hey, this is a 600 watt panel. And then you would plug it in and it'd be pulling 100 from the wall. So, yeah, I think that, you know, now they're actually labeled properly. Like, I bet that Spider Farmer probably actually pulls 200 from the wall. Because it says it does. Now they actually claim that. But before they were just telling you, like, the amount of, like, LEDs that were on there, not how they were driven. But a lot of them underdrive those LEDs. Krunk says, what should I print in NinjaFlex TPU? You should go into, okay, here, I'm going to give you a task, Krunk, and choose it if you, or accept it if you choose. I want you to go into SolidWorks or some kind of 3D modeling program, or find somebody to do this. I want you to take a T16 or a TX16S, and then you need to cut out a hole in the model, in the center of the TX16S. You're going to cut out a hole for a Tango 2. And then you're going to print it, and you're going to shove a Tango 2 in there. And that way you can get the form factor of the big controller, but you're holding a Tango 2. Sound good? Great. Glad we could work on that. You asked. Steve King says, new to DJI goggles, try the 50 megabit per second, upgrade video, cleaner range and penetration. Worse, is that right? I don't think penetration, it should be just all around better. Because it's just using double the bandwidth. So it's actually using 2 channels, or like 1.5 or some shit, to do that. William Carson says, I know space flight. All right. Interesting. Browser on Tech says, when do we give Fat Sharks a chance? I don't have any reason to buy Fat Sharks, so never. I mean, if someone would, I don't know. Yeah. I can't imagine why I would buy Fat Sharks. So, have DJI. There's ever a reason to buy them, maybe, but I'm not going to just buy them to have them. Archangel says, Micro HD DJI. Yeah, I hope that comes. That would be awesome, but I don't know that we're going to see that. Raider FPV says remote ID, and Bill Grimes says FAA will shut us down. Yeah, well, so that's going to be 3 years, so 2021 won't be that. Once they publish the final rules, then we still have 3 years before implementation and enforcement. Zach says Micro Jones is real DJI HD and axial torque motors. Interesting. William Carson, Spaceflight FPV. Archimedes, hopefully Orca Digital system in 2021. I'm expecting like 2023 for Orca Digital. I hope they have something, but the initial announcement was like, hey, we got nothing, but we're trying. That's what it read like to me. Mr. Shady says graphical OSD. Well, some things do that, but yeah, maybe with the proliferation of more H7s. I just think a lot of people still have the old flight controllers, so it's going to be a while till we see that like take over in mass. More AIOs, Travis Stevens says. Yeah, that makes sense. I definitely expect more AIOs. The jump to F7, H7 USB-C. Yeah, I could see that. I just want reason to use an F7. The H7 I think makes sense because you're using it to render the graphics on a graphical OSD, but not sure the real point of an F7. I don't think anybody notices a difference between a PID loop of like 4K and 8K, or even 2K for that matter. From Mark Spatz did some testing on that as well. I don't think there's feasibly much difference. L. Leston says, I like Free Sky, but at the end, if you really want to fly a drone, Crossfire delivers. I do not like Free Sky. So, just putting that out there. Prunk says, I'll see if someone will make it. Awesome. All right, I have a question for you guys real quick. Okay. Zach says, I just saw at the bottom, pid sliders suck, and Crunch says pid sliders are the truth. This is exactly what I was hoping for. Okay, so talk to me about this. I have a couple different thoughts about this. Why do you think pid sliders are good, and why do you think pid sliders are bad? And the other thing is, why, since we don't motor mix anymore, why don't we use separate pid sliders for pitch versus roll? Or should we still be motor mixing? Or should we have ever motor mixed? Because like when you go back and look at like Ryan Harrell's original article that talks about why we never needed motor mixers. In that he specifically says you can make up motor mixer because you can change the p-value, you can change the pid values on your pitch differently than your roll. So because you can do this, you don't need motor mix, was what I got from the article. But we're not doing that anymore because we're using sliders. So I'm curious to know, if there's actually a point to that or not. Like, or if we still don't need motor mix because it's not that different. How different is different? 10%, PIDs, 20%? And in theory, at some point, do you start getting bounced back on one response but not the other? Because you would need like a different PD gain or something? Or is it just like, is it PD bounce or PD gain that changes? I'm not really sure how the mechanics work as far as that goes. Because you have same power but different like axial amount. So let me catch up here. Trev Crow says, hey there, I just got Eachine trash can. One motor doesn't spin up unless I tap it after the other starts spinning. That is so typical of those kind of quads. Plugged another motor in that port with the same results. Any ideas? It could be that plug is rough. Could be the ESC is rough. A lot of people like just treat that like band-aid that problem because they put like they just up the idle. So you can try upping your idle to like maybe even 10% on a whoop. It's certainly not going to, trash can, it's not going to take off with 10%, even 12%. If you can get your idle high enough, then when you arm, hopefully it'll kick that motor into spinning. That's the idea behind that anyway. Double A says maybe another HD FPV cam like the naked GoPros on the 360. We did get the SMO 4K. I'm not sure if you saw that. But Beta FPV and Insta360 have been doing the SMO 4K, which is like a 30-something gram 4K 100 megabit per second censored like naked GoPro style camera. Mr. Shady says not enough switches on T2. I fly fixed wing too, so I also need physical trim switches. Yeah, that's interesting. I think a lot of us don't, but that is definitely a need for some people. Quad Daddy says, will the Tracer Nano work in a micro bay? I ordered the wrong set. I can 3D print parts if that would make it work. There should be a 3D printed kit for that, but I think you might need like an adapter to change it over. I do know there were kits for a while that you could use to change over, but they were all janky. Like all the ones I saw didn't hold very well. I'm sure you could print something that holds well. Well, otherwise there's no like compatibility issue. It's the same pins. As far as I know, it's just different size thing. Bill Graham says, have you placed another order from TBS? No, I have not. I don't want my money to be held up for 3 more months right now, so I have not. I've been jamming says, I think the iFlight A85 is micro HD. I mean, it's not, I think it's too heavy, so I don't think it really counts to me. Neek says, I wish they would put PID sliders in the OSD menu. I do think that is coming. I don't know if that's a 4.3 change or not, but there is a pull request that looks like it's almost done, I believe, on the GitHub for Betaflight to do OSD PID sliders. Abraham says, I love sliders. Let's see. Nefrain's out. Zach says the devs have messed up their coupling, whereas without the sliders, they are all independent variables. Yeah, but that doesn't make sense because, like, that's why you have all the sliders. Like, if you had one slider, I would totally agree with you. But the whole point is that you have multiple sliders. So you have a balance slider, so you can get the balance between the figures correct. And then you have a PD gain slider, so you can get the gain between the figures correct. And then you have a overall gain slider, so you can get the gain with the eye correct. Like, it takes care of all that for you. So I'm not really sure what you would want as independent variables that you can't really do with the sliders, other than splitting between like pitch and roll. But again, like if that's not really a big deal, which it doesn't seem to be, then it's not really a big deal. Let's see. Neek FPV says, I like to be able to raise and lower PIDs and maintain the same PD balance with the weight of my quad changes, for example, if running a smaller battery without a GoPro. Yeah, I think the idea of putting a PD balance on a slider made a lot of sense and kind of made tuning make more sense for a lot of people. So. Crunk sliders is the best thing implemented in the configurator in a long time. Yeah, I think for general tuning it is. Zach says not with P and I. I don't know what you mean. You tune I. Why would you tune P and I together? You only tune PD gain or PD balance, so you get your P to D correct. You tune PD gain to get your P and D up or down correct, and then you can tune total gain to get PI and D gain together moved. I don't know why you would ever want to tune just P and I. I'm not sure what situation that would be in. That's kind of the whole thing. Is like if you're tuning, yeah, exactly. You tune the, as Crunk says, you change the master and the PD gain to change P and I. So there are ways to do this. And then if your P, like, because you don't want, the whole point is like you already set your PD balance. So why would you change your P to your D? So your P and D should always move together. That's the whole point. If you change your PD balance, you're going to get bounce back. You don't ever want to do that. So like you set your PD balance and then you move all your other sliders because your PD balance is set. That's my understanding. Like you wouldn't want to change P and I without changing D because you set your PD balance. Let's see. Quad Daddy says, thanks for your sweet thanks. I'll look. Well, I do appreciate the expedited shipping from your store. Yeah, I didn't want to deal with like losing packages, so I felt like it was better for people just to get expedited shipping. So everything from my store goes priority. Let's see. Mr. Shady says, do you think graphical OSD would give the capability of almost complete Betaflight GUI in goggles? I mean, basically, as long as they design it like that, yeah, you could kind of do that. I don't know how feasible it would be to work inside of it with like single selections and stuff, but I mean, in theory, sure. Let's see. Crunk says I use PID toolbox to parse the step response. You find a balance simply. Yep. That's my understanding. Yeah, that's what I've learned from UAV tech, if anything. This PD balance is not like, doesn't change once you set it. That's kind of the whole idea. Let's see. Abraham. Probably a simplified but full feature interface, like a black and white version of the mobile app. Yeah, I think it has to be like some simplified thing, but Crunk says,
We find the PD balance with step response or lack of bounce back. Yeah. You never want that to change, then erase PD gain as needed. Dan Richmond says, Crunk, do you need anything 3D printed or modeled? I can tell you, modeled maybe, but 3D printed he does not, because he was just asking a bunch of other people what they needed printed, because his 3D printer was not being used. So. Crunk, oh, by the way, Crunk, I have a package coming your way with some things we discussed previously. So I'll shoot you a message about that. I bet you can guess what that is. Yeah. So we're coming up on the end of the stream. I think we got about, I'm going to end it at a 2-hour mark here. So we got about 9 minutes left. Yeah. About 9 minutes left. Is there anything else you guys want to discuss? We'll just try to cut it directly at 2 hours. I'm going to go check and see if there's any more news that I missed. This is kind of cool. Hey, we'll check this out real quick. Somebody in the community, Joshua Bardwell's community, Rhinout, has made Drone Weather Online, which is a website you can go to and get some information about your local drone weather if you share at your location. And it will tell you which days are good to fly, and I'll give you kind of a rating based on what's going on. So I will load that up in my thing here just so you guys can see it. That is droneweatheronline.com. It's a cool little idea, and it's constantly being developed. So I like to support these, people doing stuff like this. Swap right over. So yeah, you can see I'm here in Commerce City, which is close to me, sort of, in Colorado. And then you can see like, hey, Thursday might not be the best day to fly because it's late probably. But Friday, we can set our time. Oh, I see. Thursday we can set our time and see when it's good to fly. So let's say we want to fly at 15. We can see, oh, Monday looks like a good candidate. We could see the wind direction, wind rating and stuff, and it gives us like a score for those things. Yeah, pretty neat. Good little idea. Maybe you can help some people out. Decide if it's okay to fly. Travis Stevens says, this is always a chill stream. So happy to have that. Ask everybody to hit the like button if you haven't. I think most people here have liked it probably, but if you haven't, it'd be cool slapping that like button. Anything helps get recommendations. My next build, as I've promised to the stream, is going to be FetTech. I just have to get a frame to put it in. But Quad Daddy, I will give you feedback once I do that. I can tell you Crunked in the chat is a big fan of FetTech. For sure, so. Raider FPV says, how about an active spot finder app? I think the issue is making it active. Not a lot of people use it, so. Oh, let's see here. Whoops. Nope, nope, come on now. There, put that back. All right, let's not break the stream before we end. Mr. Shady says, are you a festive kind of guy or just let it drift on by? I am a just let it drift on by kind of guy. Double A says, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you as well. William Carson coming in with a question. Can I fly my 2306 1750 kV motor on the front arms of my quad, and also my rear arms have 2205 2450? Yes, you can. It might get a little weird because you can't limit. I mean, that's quite a bit of a difference, but like there's a video called Frankenquad. It's like 3.5 years old right now. And I personally would say it doesn't have any effect. This guy basically did like 4-inch prop, 5-inch prop, 6-inch prop, multiple different blade types, multiple different motor sizes, multiple different ESCs, and the quad flew fine. It might not be perfect, but it will fly for now. I would say like plan to get like a better motor setup. Plan to like shoot for the same motors. But if you need to use them in the interim, I think it'll be fine.
Let's see. CMYK FPV is here. How's it going, man? Just in time for us to end it up. Big Data Pimp says, check out Drone Nation for a spot finder. Fat Boy is also working on a spot finder. See, this is part of the problem. Everybody's got a spot finder. Crunked Fat Tech, I got PIDs for you. Also pointers on how to wire stuff. Apex regulator plus Apex OSD is best, but Fat Tech OSD will work, but you need a 5-volt BEC. Do know you're not supposed to power anything but the receiver off of the flight controller. Now that's a rule. It will not let me show your link, Fat Boy, with the link in it. So I think it's blocking it for whatever reason, even though I've set it not to block. So you could shoot me an email with that at itsblunttyfpv@gmail.com. I'll check that out. CMYK FPV says, thanks again for the VTX help. Yeah, no problem, man. Always happy to help. Mr. Shady says, happy drifting. Oh, that was a Schizo video. Okay. I was not around to know who Schizo is, so it's good to know. Is that a Schizo video I'm talking about? Hold on, let's look this up. See if you guys are talking about the same video. Yes, that is who I'm talking about. Schizo FPV. All right. Well, I think that is going to do it for the stream, everybody. Thank you so much for stopping by. I really appreciate it. About 76 concurrent viewers, so not quite as much as last week, but that's totally fine. It is getting close to the holidays, so... again, I'll just do my general plugs. If you want to donate directly to me, down in the description, you'll see a Streamlabs link. If you want to get on my Patreon, you can do that for $3, $10, or any amount that you choose. That's in the link at the bottom as well. Yeah, and I also have a link to my Discord, and you can join that and talk to me anytime. You can talk to any of the other people in my Discord. And also, I have something else. I don't know. That sounds about right to me. So, yeah, come and check out the Discord. Come hang out. Use the link in that description and hop in and check it out. Say hi to everybody. I'm always available. Oh, yeah, it's blunttyfpv@gmail.com. You're always also welcome to email me about anything. I'm happy to help you anytime. Yeah. Everybody, thanks a lot. Mr. Shady asked I'll get the last question in. Is it flying that hooked you or the technology? Definitely technology. I think a lot of people put the goggles on and are like, flying's amazing. But for me, it was like technology and progress and puzzles and things like that. It was much more interesting to me. So that's why I spent a lot of my time troubleshooting. So, all right, later, guys. Take it easy and have a wonderful night.